are back. So I am so excited that y'all are here to celebrate all of the nerdy things together. I'm going to invite you to make sure you go grab a drink, get comfortable, find your seat, and I'm going to talk for about 10 minutes-ish, and then we'll have a break, and you'll have a chance to mingle, grab more drinks, and then we'll have our other talk. So you have an idea of what to expect. I'm just really excited that we're here, we're doing this. This is awesome. So if you are interested in speaking, then you were given a little card. So I have a person with a bag, Dean in the back, our charming Australian man. If you have not given him a card and or a pen, then he would love to collect that from you. So if you have it, you can just kind of hold it up.
I get my pen back.
Yes, thank you for giving your pen back. So Dean's gonna be back. He had to for a brief second. Okay. But yes, I am interested in seeing what kinds of rabbit holes y'all are getting into, and we'll bring those cards out at the end of the evening to kind of talk about what additional things people are thinking about and what you would be open and interested in talking about on stage. Let's talk a little bit about community, because we have some really cool things that are happening in the community. First of all, can you guys hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up. Wait. Okay. We're good on noise. That's good. Or level, noise level. So I don't know how many of you are into astronomy. Do we have like astrologer people here? Amazing. Yes, represent. Because astronomy, not, did I say astrologers? I meant astronomy. The next couple of days are going to be really fabulous for looking at the night sky. And so I wanted to share this with you. We do have the Colorado Springs Astronomical Society. Do we have anybody in here who is a representative of the astronomical? No, so go check them out because they're super cool. They have property down south that is in the night sky area, and it's phenomenal to watch night sky stuff. So all of these planets are going to be in alignment on June 16th. So definitely check out the western sky in the next couple of days, because there's really exciting stuff happening. And then so SUMA, Solstice Block Party, that's happening on June 20th, and that's all day, so that is really exciting, I wanted to mention. We have the Poets versus the Storytellers. So if you're interested in slam poetry and stories, then this is definitely something that you want to check out, Storybook Brewing. And then they are also coming back with Pop-Up Art Cafe to do a blackout poetry and collage on the patio at Avenue 19. This is something I'm really excited about as well. I love seeing collaborations of different people in the city. So yeah, if you're interested in art and poetry, then boom, definitely check that out. Green Box Arts Festival is doing something cool on July 4th. They're going to have a parade and then a bunch of other stuff. And I'm really excited about the puppets. There's going to be some giant puppets in the parade at Green Box Arts on July 4th. So if you're into that, definitely check it out. And speed friending. I host speed friending at SUMA, and the next one is coming up on July 14th. We have a really great time. If you're interested, you can check out tickets at my website, storyfulmatchmaking.com/events. They're super fun, and we just have groups of people having conversations, and it's a good time. So let's talk about Nerd Night, the history of Nerd Night, okay? It started with this bird right here. Do we have any birders? Excellent. Do you know what bird this is? No idea. Probably because it is based in Cameroon, so it makes sense that you would not know what this bird is. It's called the indigo bunting bird. And in 2003, there was a researcher in Boston who would go periodically to Cameroon to study this bird. And he would come back, and the bartender at the cafe where he was got pretty bored of this man telling the same story to his friends over and over and over again. And so what he said was, maybe you could put together a slideshow on what it is that you're researching so that we don't have to hear the same story over and over again. And Chris said, great, yeah, I'll do that. So he studies brood parasitism. Does anybody know what that is? No, I'm going to show you. One person. Yeah, so it's a jerky bird activity. What these birds do is they put their eggs in somebody else's nest, and then those birds hatch earlier, and they push out the eggs in the original nest. That's called brood parasitism. So it's not great. But anyway, that was the story that this researcher had to share. And his roommate was a guy named Matt Wazakowski who said, this is really cool. I'm going to bring it to New York City. And in 2006, that's what he did. Nerd Nite was born in New York City. And pretty soon after that, Nerd Nite kind of grew into this behemoth of an event that is a lot of other places too. So my first trivia question for you is to guess. How many Nerd Nites are there currently?
36.
23. 17.
These are really great numbers, guys. And some of you are closer than others. I would say the people who said 100 cities plus. That's how many cities Nerd Night is in. Yes! Celebrate. Thank you. Thank you. And now it's also in Colorado Springs. So we're growing. Nerd Night is growing. We've got Fort Collins, Denver, Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
And so who knows what else is on the horizon, but it is exciting. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself because it's related to why I wanted to start Nerd Night. So I am a matchmaker, I am a dating coach, and at the heart of what I do is connection. I really want to be able to provide the community with a space to gather and connect meaningfully. And so really that's the heart of bringing back Nerd Night Colorado Springs. I also taught middle and high school science for 10 years, so that's my nerd cred. So this is my talk. Everybody wants to know, who are the speakers at Nerd Night? And to be fair, like every Nerd Night is going to be different. There are going to be different speakers. And so that's something to look forward to. But tonight, I wanted to share with you my story because it's related to what Colorado Springs has and sort of where we're going. So when we think of Colorado Springs, it has a lot of superlatives, right? It's beautiful. I love this view, Garden of the Gods view of Pikes Peak Mountains behind the red rocks. It's Olympic City, USA. It's a military town. There's a lot of faith-based organizations that are here, right? So these are all things that are characteristic of Colorado Springs. It's fast growing, especially on the eastern side. And it's an outdoor mecca. So I had to include a picture of my friend Anna, who thinks it's a fun Saturday when she gets to run 50 miles in Leadville. Not my idea of a fun time, but these people exist too. She might need a little help, it's true. But this is another superlative that Colorado Springs has. And how many of you are familiar with the fact that Colorado Springs was deemed the worst city in the United States to date? So some of us have heard of this particular statistic. I saw it too back in January, and I thought, well, shoot, I really want to know what was the science behind it. Like, what methods did they use? What was the criteria? And was it legitimate? And I'm going to share my thoughts with all y'all because I feel like you would be interested too. So let's dive in. These are their methods. How did they determine that in fact Colorado Springs is the worst city in the United States to date? They looked at dating opportunities. So they wanted to know how many single people there are in Colorado Springs. And so that's a legitimate question. But what's not legitimate is maybe like the age that they used. They looked at people who were 15 and over, and that would not be my choice, but it was theirs. They also looked at cost of living. They wanted to understand what's the average income and what's the average one-bedroom apartment cost. that's legit. Quality of life, this is a hard thing to gauge. They looked at the statistics of amounts of the violent crime rate, the walkability, the amount of green space. They looked at the number of restaurants, bars, arts, museums, and theater companies related to population density, which is interesting. And they also looked at dating interest. And this is kind of an interesting thing. How would you gauge somebody's dating interest? And they said, yes, we're going to look at dating interest by looking at their behavior on the internet. How often are they going to be Googling dating apps? And that gauges their dating interest. So there are some things on here that I think are legit, and there are some things on here that not so much. But it's important that I mention that to you. So this is not what was measured, right? But it's actually really important. Is how much chemistry someone has, how much emotional availability there is, how much social courage somebody has to go out and initiate conversation, or whether somebody can ask a follow-up question. Because the one thing that women ask time and time again is, men, please ask me a question. And in fact, there was a study that was done looking at speed dating and individuals. And they found that men who asked one more question than they had previously, they were more likely to get to the next stage, to get that date. So it is important to ask questions. Take home message there. But here are my takeaways, right? Like, this is what I'm hearing and seeing as I go through the local community events and observations that I'm making, right? It's really hard to get people out and about because it's really hard to leave home. And I get that because I have a dog and I also like staying home and binge watching Netflix. But it's really important that people get out so that they can meet people, because you're not going to meet anybody if you're at home. And people really hate the apps, and they want different ways of meeting people, and that means, like, we need to provide more opportunities to gather. And then on top of that, you do have this fear of rejection, right? Like, how do I go out and have a conversation with a stranger and then have them not think that I'm creepy? That's a hard thing to do. And so lack of practice, I think, is something that a lot of people, not just single people, also struggle with. How do we have conversations with people? How do we build connection and strengthen relationships? Because we are social creatures, and our brains need social connection. So I think that if we can have community, then dating will get better for the single people. But the entire community will benefit. And for those individuals that are dating, I think we live in this world of convenience where it's easy to just shop for whatever you want on Amazon in 10 seconds. And that mentality is often shows up in the way that we date people too. And so I really think the goal isn't just about finding that one special unicorn person, but just making connections in general and finding community along the way. So I read this book, Bound by Evolution, Paul Eastwick, and he made this comment: if I were to make a suggestion or give myself advice to my younger self, what would I say? I would say, stop thinking about where you're going to meet people and just be around people. Because through our social connections, that is how we can ultimately make more connections. And that's really what I'm about, is building community and networking. So here's my trivia question for you. What is one of the strongest predictors of whether two people will eventually like each other? And you can call out A, B, C, or D after I say them all. after I say them all. A, shared hobbies and interests. B, being the exact physical type for at least one of you. C, repeated exposure. Or D, sharing the same type of water bottle covered in stickers. Now you can talk. Oh, you guys are so smart. Because, yes, the answer is Repeated exposure. So many people I talk to are really hell-bent on, I want this one type of person, and they have to be tall, or they have to be this age and lower. But really, like, the more time that you spend with people, the more you realize, oh, they really do have qualities that I like. And that is more important than are they your ideal type. So my goal with Nerd Night is easy, right? Build a place where smart and thoughtful people can find one another. That's it. Community. That's why we're here tonight. So I have 3 permissions that I would like to give you because this is the first Nerd Night and none of you have really had this experience before. So permission number 1, participation is encouraged. It is not required, right? It would be great if you shared an index card of what you would present on, but you don't have to. And here's another reminder that we do have our charming Australian man in the green shirt. If you have a card and you would like to give it to him, you can just hold that up and he will come over and grab it from you. We got somebody in the front, Dean, so go pick it up from them now. Yeah. If you have pens, you can also hold those up periodically and he can grab that from you now. 2, permission number 2, learn something and talk about it, right? So we're going to have an opportunity to have a break pretty soon, and I want you to turn to somebody you don't know and ask them a question. What did you think? And be curious, be kind, be cool, right? We're all of those things. So, awesome. So here are our 3 talks. This is for you. First talk is going to be creativity and communication with Allison Christopherson. She's going to talk about what are the different ways people can be creative in their daily life and in general, and what does that mean in terms of the ways that we collaborate with people and communicate with them to optimize creativity and relationships. And then we have Calvin Pitsuan, who's going to talk about the survival of the laziest. How an ignored game idea survived and dominated, right? Using natural selection to describe how ideas and games can undergo competition and evolve and survive. And then later we'll review some of those rabbit holes that you talked about. All right, so that is what I have. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break and come back here in about 10-ish minutes. So grab a drink, relax, mingle, and we'll see you soon.